Hey everybody, this is us for Listed on Gaming with episode 5, match number 1 with Burn here in Modern. Much like Nikachu MCG, we're doing daily episodic various decks in Modern, mostly focusing on Burn, Archlight Phoenix decks, blue-white control decks, including Jeskai and blue-white, and Death Shadow, primarily Grixis, and 4-color with Tarmogoyf and Traverse the and Wald, etc. So this is episode 5, match 1 with Burn. So been a little bit. People have been kind of working on Skewer the Critics and lay up the stage's build, and the consensus has kind of been that lay up the stage is kind of filler, and it doesn't really seem to help the deck all that much. You're obviously lowering your curve, making yourself a little bit more vulnerable to Chalice of the Void. So right now we're going back to a more traditional Boros / green build. Used to be for Destructive Revelry. This particular version was playing 4 copies of Cindervine in the sideboard, which I thought was an interesting card to test out. It's Destructive Revelry / Eidolon the Great Revel against opponent's split card. So the main deck isn't that different from what we used to run. It's 19 lands instead of 20. 1 Grim Lavamancer in the 20th land slot. 4 Goblin God, 4 Swift Spear, 4 Eidolon. And then the deck just eschews Skullcrack altogether for 4 copies of Skewer the Critics. 4 Lightning Helix, 4 Rift Bolt, 4 Boros Charm, 4 Lightning Bolt, 4 Lava Spike. So pretty standard stuff. 1 Stomping Ground for the Cindervines on the sideboard. As far as the sideboard, Ensnaring Bridge is coming back in vogue as the various tribal decks are picking up steam again. It's pretty decent against Phoenix and such. You can get this down and empty out your hand of 2 or less. Means there are things in the ice and stuff as well can attack. Also pretty decent against Death Shadow if they don't have Artifact Hate or can't find a stubby D in time. Cindervines, this is kind of the card that's kind of the test card in this particular build. Usually comes in same matchups as Destructive Revelry, but can also be pretty good against like Storm, can also be pretty good against things like various control decks and such that are relying on a lot of spells. So this card can be pretty sweet. 2 Searing Bloods and 2 Path to Exile for creature decks. 2 copies of Skullcrack for any type of life gain situations, or you're bringing in more hate cards against any type of, or instant speed cards against control and such. And then 3 copies of Rest in Peace for any type of graveyard decks, you know the deal. Dredge, Storm, etc. So, a lot of extra hate here for Storm. I almost feel bad if we run into a Storm opponent. This is kind of almost overkill. But, that said, let's go ahead and hop into match number 1. It's been a little bit since I've played Burn. Been having problems getting the 2-a-day videos I've been wanting to get out on time with school project ongoing right now. Plus this coming weekend will be GP or Magic Fest Cleveland, which is a limited event. I will be attending, but I will not be playing in the main event. I will be attending, playing some modern side events with Burn and Jeskai. So, and then visiting a friend up in Cleveland. So, gonna be a busy weekend, so we need to get some matches in now. Alright, match number 1, we're starting out on the play. That is awesome. 1 lander, huh? These are always borderline with Burn. I think we'll keep this one. We've got 3 1-mana plays lined up. If we happen to hit a second land in a pretty timely fashion, this hand lines up pretty decently. Let's see what we're up against here. Revealing Sakura Tribe Elder, so looks like Valakut. It's another deck that's kind of making a resurgence with the format slowing down a little bit as Valakut. Probably grab a Forest and suspend search for tomorrow here. Yep, so we're on the clock. We need to find some lands here. Second Goblin Guide is also acceptable. Trigger, land and land. See what our opponent has. Probably a Stevo here. Stevo to block. Explore. It's a little bit risky, isn't it? Alright, Flame Slash makes sense. Nice. I'm going to 11 here, and then at least 9 and possibly 7. See if they have a bolt here. Probably not. Flame Slash has been kind of a response to the various Arclight Phoenix decks. See what our opponent has here. We know we have the Sakura Tri-Builder in hand. They have one more Cinder Glade. They have a Stomping Ground. There's a Valakut. Comes Steve-O. Another land means they're dead. Skewer the Critics also means they're dead. Cast a Spectacle. Another case of Skewer the Critics being pretty good here. This matchup's usually pretty reasonable for Burn, but there are some draws they have. Sakura Tri-Builder. Yeah, like Titan Show's kind of making a resurgence here. I mean, it's a fine deck, especially in a little bit slower format. And Arclight's certainly a slower format deck. So, looks like some Boros out of the sideboard. Maybe some Damping Spheres. Cards we're probably interested in is the 2 copies of Skullcrack. A lot of people debate the merits of Path to Exile in the matchup. So, Ensnaring Bridge could be a possibility. It leaves us dead to Scape Shift only. They don't have that many creatures anyway. So, I want to get these Searing Blazes out of my deck, if at all possible. So, I'm going to bring in the Past just to clear out Boros. And then get rid of these Searing Blazes. Not a ton, obviously, for the matchup, so... I mean, only having 2 Skullcracks in the sideboard, this is where having additional copies of Skullcrack would be nice. This hand's pretty decent. The double Eidolon hand's a little awkward, but outside of that, I think the hand's pretty decent. It's mulliganing to 6. Hopefully I don't have a ley line or something. Nope. So do I play out Swift Spear here and let it get bolted? Probably. And it's the only reason they lead on this card, right? Just bolt it. Okay. Or they were bluffing. Farseek or Sakura Tri-Builder? Farseek. Alright. Like, Eidolon's not great in this matchup, especially when our opponent could easily have a Baloth this turn. But even Anger of the Gods, you know, deals them 2 damage. They don't really advance their mana situation. Anger of the Gods, Sweltering Suns, any of those kind of effects. Did mulligan to 6, so they might be a little late on resources. Wouldn't be surprised if we get Baloth tier, though. Sweltering Suns, sure. Rex Sage is kind of cute. Actually, kind of want to incentivize them to play Rex Sage here. So that'll put them to 10. And that means over the course of the next couple turns, they're just dead to burn spells. So bolt this, put them to 2 here. Don't show me Baloth. Well, Summoner's Pact could potentially be Baloth, I suppose. Puts them to 2. Baloth would put them to 6. Okay. That was a pretty fast, easy, painless, almost painless version of winning on against Titan Shift. So this has been us, Critcs on Gaming, with episode 5, match number 1, with Boros Burn in Modern.